today I'm going to talk about the pros and cons of having a YouTube channel in 2020. So I wanted to make this video after watching one of my favorite YouTubers, Ingrid last video on YouTube. So I started watching her videos basically since the very beginning. And I remember when I first graduated from university, whenever I come home from work, I would watch her videos while eating dinner. And her videos just brought me a lot of joy, and it would be one of the highlights of my day. So the whole thing about her quitting YouTube definitely made me feel very heavy, because I always saw her as one of the pioneers of YouTube. Like, she's the first person that started Vlogmas.
Vlogmas Day 1!
And probably one of the first people that did a series on YouTube. She's also one of the first people that came out publicly on YouTube. And outside of that, I just really like her style, whether that's like filming style or the way she dressed. And I certainly modeled some of my videos after hers. So when I learned that she's not going to do YouTube anymore, a part of me was like, okay, now what do I do?
Oh no!
So there's certainly been a lot of YouTubers that I followed throughout the years that have quit YouTube. I'm sure you have seen a lot of YouTubers that you followed for a long time disappear from the platform. Let's compare our list. First, there is Light by Coco. She is like the mother of the minimalism community on YouTube. And I think she quit at the height of her popularity. And she even deleted all her videos, which was really sad. And then there is J Loves Mac. I think she hasn't posted anything for more than 3 years. And then there's also a Barbie34. Like, you can tell just by the username that she is OG. She's the one that taught me how to cut bangs and saved me a lot of money. And then there's also The Secret Life of a Bio Nerd. I remember that she said her goodbyes on her main channel last year, but I think she still has like a family vlog channel, but she's not very active on that either. So with all these OG YouTubers quitting, does that say something about this career path in general? Is YouTube sustainable in the long term? And if you're thinking of starting a YouTube channel or you're growing your own YouTube channel, what are some things that you need to be careful of and just consider before taking the plunge and pursue this full time? So I made a list of pros and cons of doing YouTube in 2020, and I hope that it will help you to make the decision about whether or not to pursue this line of work. So I think ultimately you already have the answer in your heart whether to do YouTube or not. But in this video, I just want to kind of share my experience and give you a heads up on what to expect if you really want to take YouTube seriously. So the first thing that you will gain by starting a YouTube channel is that you're going to learn a lot of new skills, whether that's video production, video editing, graphic design, or storytelling, and even negotiation. These new skills can definitely be very useful in this day and age, and it's something that you can take with you anywhere you go. And having a YouTube channel is basically like having a full-blown business. Initially, it might not feel like that when you don't have a lot of followers, and at that stage, the majority of your work is going to be focused on content creation. But as your channel grows, you are going to be able to experience different aspects of the business, like working with brands, negotiation, developing your own personal branding, and also exploring different income streams. And also, I think having a YouTube channel will teach you a lot of things about life in general in a very short period of time, just like investing in the stock market. So for example, back in 2017 or 2018, the Tesla stock was at $200 or $300-ish, and that's when I bought it. And immediately after I bought it, the stock fell by 30%, and I just felt like the biggest idiot ever. And now, fast forward to 2020, I think as of today, the stock is at $1,400. I don't own it anymore, but I definitely made a lot of profit on this gain. But in the span of 2-3 years, the stock price has increased 6-fold already. Now, the company has definitely grown and matured in these 3 years, but is it proportional to how much the stock price has increased? This whole thing is very similar to having a YouTube channel. Like, in the beginning, you have 0 subscribers. Maybe one day you're going to grow to 100,000 or 1 million or something like that. But it doesn't really mean that our intrinsic worth as creator is proportional to our subscriber count. When you have 0 subscribers, or you have 10 subscribers, or 100 subscribers, it doesn't mean that you're worth nothing. It just means you're undervalued. And when you do grow at an exponential rate, it also doesn't mean you're worth that much more. It doesn't mean your intrinsic worth is proportional to your subscriber count. I think it would be silly to think that way. The same way attention can be given to us, it can be taken away just like that, right? So I think one thing that YouTube is really good at teaching people is the ever-changing nature of life. And also, don't get too attached to the numbers or external validation. And I think that's a really good lesson that anyone can learn. The first downside to having a YouTube channel is that YouTube is very, very time-consuming. Basically, it's an opportunity cost. If you're spending all your spare time on making videos, it basically takes that opportunity away from you from investing in other things like your career development. It's very difficult to work on your side hustle while trying to grow your main hustle. And it's not to say that you can't do your day job. You can definitely keep your day job while doing YouTube. But I think it's just harder if you wanted to, spend some time networking with people or learning more about your current line of work. And you basically don't have as much time to dedicate to other things, and that's an opportunity cost to you. But it's not to say that you can't revert on this decision. You can always try it out and see if you like it, and if you don't, you can go back to your old ways or try something else. I think there's a saying that goes like, clarity comes from engagement, not thoughts. So if you're curious about something, you just have to try it out instead of contemplating about it in your mind. So yeah, if you want to take YouTube seriously, you're definitely going to give up something else in your life. Now, another upside to doing YouTube is the uncapped earning potential. And that's something I feel like I didn't have in my designer career. So as I look at my career in general, I felt like I didn't really have the personality to climb the corporate ladder. And it didn't help that I was working at these really small companies and there's really no ladder to climb. And I also didn't want to specialize in anything. I'm just like too multi-passionate, jack of all trades type of person. And that really limited the career growth that I can have. So yeah, I kind of try to look ahead 10 years into my career. Not that I can predict the future or anything, but as I looked ahead, I just didn't really see a bright future for myself. And the thought of doing the same thing for 10 years just kind of freaked me out. But doing YouTube and being a content creator is different because your earning potential is only limited by your own capabilities and your own decision makings. And also everything that I create can be leveraged in different ways. And because it's my own business, I can always pivot and go in different directions as I change as a person. So another obvious downside to doing YouTube is that there is very low barrier of entry and fierce competition because anyone can basically pick up a camera or just use your cell phone to start a YouTube channel, and there's probably millions of people doing that right now. And with anything that has a low barrier of entry, it probably just means that in the beginning you have to work for free. It's the same thing in like the creative industry, for acting, so anything that basically people can just do without training. Like, it helps if you have some training, but it's not very technical, and in a way almost everyone wants to do it. So yeah, if you want to take YouTube seriously, you have to be prepared to work for free for possibly a very long period of time and invest a lot of time into this and possibly see very little return, like literally zero return for a long time. I made videos for an entire year before I hit 1,000 subscribers. So yeah, that's just something to be aware of. Just don't expect to see any return in the early days. And you definitely have to love it to push through that initial stage. But if you do love it, the work is actually very fulfilling. I'll share something about myself. I'm like a very project-based person. I'm always looking for new challenges and new projects to work on. And once I have my eyes set on something, I basically go all in and just try to make things happen as soon as possible. So that trait is good and bad. If you actually have a project that you're looking to get done, I'm like your best team member. But there are certain type of jobs like, managerial roles where the nature of the job is just not like that. So this characteristic kind of limits me to only working as an individual contributor. But I think to have a fulfilling life, you need to have some certainty and uncertainty. Now, I know this is a very privileged thing to say, Probably a lot of people would love to be in my position, but I was looking for change. I wanted to explore other things. But being a content creator is like a very good fit for my personality because every video, every piece of content that I create is like a new project. So there's always new things that I can work on. And not to mention, when you get some kind of feedback from your audience, that's like the best feeling ever. And especially if it's content that actually help them in their life. So yeah, the fulfillment that I get from doing YouTube is just huge. But also getting feedback from the audience and seeing how the videos can actually help people and being able to connect with my audience, that is like the best feeling in the world. But just like everything in life, there is a downside. And in this case is creator burnout. And if you watch my videos, you're probably thinking like, what are you talking about? You upload one video a week. Just in my personal experience, I feel like when you're cranking out content on a regular basis, it's very easy to get bored or feel uninspired about the content you're creating. And I kind of compared the content I create now to my earlier content. And I just feel like there is not as much thoughtfulness and uniqueness to my content compared to my earlier content.
Potatoes are the most superior food in the universe.
Yeah! Even though those videos are not as well produced and they don't get as much views, but there was just more humor, there's more like fun and more character to those videos, even though they're like kind of shitty in quality, but somehow I feel like they just represent me a lot more. And I'll link a few of my really weird ones in the description for you to check out. But yeah, I think as I get more experience with YouTube, I kind of developed this framework where I can just follow for every single video, and that is more efficient and it kind of guarantees better quality, but it does limit my imagination a little bit, and I think it shows in the video. But I'm not like very worried about it because I'm really excited about reinventing myself every year, and I'm sure I'm going to start trying different things very soon. But I think the downside I'm trying to say is that when you're creating content so regularly, it can't get really repetitive, it can get really boring. Sometimes you might get bored of talking about the same thing over and over, and I think that's just creator burnout. It's not necessarily that you don't enjoy this line of work anymore, it's just that maybe you need a break, maybe you need to try something else. But if you do this part-time or do it as a hobby, then every time you make videos, it's going to feel really fresh and really exciting. So yeah, there's definitely a downside to turning your hobby into something you do professionally. And I don't think people are talking about that. Like, I'm still very grateful for being able to do this, but I just want to kind of warn people about turning their hobby into a profession. It's just not going to feel the same. But I think overall, I just want to say that sometimes it's actually a good thing to just keep hobbies as hobbies. And sometimes there's magic for doing something just for fun. When your livelihood doesn't depend on YouTube, you actually might be able to create something that's truly unique. And also you might be able to stay on the platform for a longer period of time. And this all came from thinking about these OG creators basically dropping off of the platform. And I wonder if being a professional influencer is a good thing or not in the long term. And the last thing I want to mention is that there is actually an advantage to keeping your day job while being an influencer, because there's already so much content that centers around the life of a professional influencer. Most people don't live like that, and I think people are kind of getting bored of seeing that. It's actually very refreshing to see people with conventional jobs like an accountant, Uber driver. You know, it's fun to see someone else's life, you know, professions that you maybe interact with on a daily basis, and see what their life is like. If you're interested in starting your own YouTube channel, you can check out my class on Skillshare. I'll teach you how to create graphics like this one so that your video can be more engaging, more dynamic, and more organized. I used Figma to create and organize all my graphics for YouTube. And in the class, I'll teach you how to create things like your thumbnail, your channel art, your end screen design, everything and anything that you need in terms of the graphics for your YouTube channel. So if you want to see how I create them, check out the link in the description. If you already have a YouTube channel, feel free to leave it in the comment section below. Tell me what your channel is about and maybe what you want to achieve with your channel. Alright, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!